I'm in La Paz at the moment. I'm in this massive cemetery. To get to this cemetery, you can take the vernacular, which you can see behind me. We're on the red line right now. I have to speak quite quietly because this is a respectful place, and I've also taken off my hat. Don't anybody accuse me of being disrespectful, okay? We're going to go and explore this huge cemetery a little bit. Let's go. This looks like it's actually a tomb for somebody from quite a rich family. In this area of the cemetery, there's lots of rich people's tombs. These are tombs for common people. You can see that they stretch quite a way down. Each tomb has a little window. Then there's usually a picture of the person and a few little mementos to remind their families of who's buried there. You can see that there's little mementos, chocolate, some bread. This one looks like it's very well maintained. Here you can see one which is a little bit older. There's some of the offerings inside it. You can see a bottle of orange Fanta, a little tiny bottle of beer. You can see in this one that there's some fake $100 bills so that their relative can use them in the afterlife. It's quite similar to China in that respect. You can see this old man tidying up his wife's tomb, 3rd level up on a ladder. That must be pretty tough for the old fella. So I think what happens is, if the tomb is not maintained, or if the family don't pay the rent on the plot, then they get a notice. You can see a notice has been stuck to this one. Then if they don't pay, if they can't contact the family, the coffin is removed, and then who knows what they do with it. So here you can actually see an empty space where a coffin was previously. There's actually a lot in this cemetery. You can see this one is a child's grave. It's much shorter than the one we just looked at. This is probably a couple of meters long. This is actually a child's grave. You can see it's packed with toys and candy. But unfortunately it's received the notification and it says that they haven't been able to contact the family. This was dated November 2017. If the family doesn't get in contact within 2 months, then they're going to take out this grave, this tomb. The government will not be responsible for what they do with it. It's kind of sad, really. Surprisingly, it's actually very beautiful here, and the fragrance of all the flowers is quite wonderful. This doesn't really feel like a place of death, it feels more like a place of life. The other interesting thing is that the red line of the vernacular passes right over the cemetery, so you can see right into it. And I guess that means that people are reminded of death and life every day. Here's a picture of Jesus coming out showing the stigmata in his hands and in his feet. He's got blue eyes and a beard. Doesn't look like any of the locals around here. I think the interesting thing for me here is that there seems to be a crossover between Catholic and Andean culture. On the one hand, you've got all these small tombs, these small graves, which is like something you would see in Catholic or Christian graveyards all around the world. But then you have the small offerings of small bottles of wine, of food, of things that people can use in the afterlife. And there's kind of that mishmash of Andean and Western culture in there. I was just reading the Andean culture. There's something called llantitas, which is a kind of culture, and they take the skull out of the grave. They'll take it back home, give it offerings. The family will make requests, make wishes to the skull, because they believe that it can grant their wishes. Hopefully they return it to the grave afterwards. And I think that's what you can kind of see here, is that all of these graves, all of these tombs give very easy access to the dead. They're very at ease with the dead here, I found. We can see that these are all children's graves. This one has the name Bebita in it, which means baby girl. Again, here's a much older one, and you can see the notice on it saying that it's going to be removed. This one says it's paid up till April 2020. Let's see how much it costs. I think it says 21.4 Bolivianos. So I think that rather than buy these plots, people just rent them, and then if you don't pay your rent, the dead body gets thrown out. That's kind of sad, really. There's a very small sparrow sitting watching me next to this tomb. Doesn't seem too scared of me though. Unusually, there's a lot of graffiti in the cemetery, and some of it's actually pretty good. It's interesting in this mural because you can actually see the tradition of the skull being taken to the home. And then there also seems to be some kind of shamanic ritual going on as well. I don't know what these gold bands mean though. The shaman's wearing a gold band. This guy's got some coca in his hat. He's carrying the skull, and then he's got the gold ring around his leg. And you can see there's actually another gold ring behind the house. In fact, there's a few gold rings. I wonder what they represent. Just before I go, I just want to say a quick word. And this could be for people from anywhere in the world, whether you are Christian, Catholic, Jewish, Muslim, whatever it is you believe in. When your loved ones have passed on, they're not really gone. As long as you keep them in your heart and in your mind, they'll be with you for the rest of your life. I think that's something important to remember when you come to a place like this. I'm going to get out of here now because it's cold and I need some lunch. And please remember to be respectful in these places. I'll see you again next time. Let's go.